Hello folks, just an update for you on my tractor in snowblower mode and how it has lasted over time. If you go back in my channel and see the early videos when I actually assembled the snowblower, and of course I'm talking about all of the linear actuators and controls for it, not just the snowblower itself, which means eliminating all those ugly levers that the snowblower originally came with. So I don't remember how long ago I did that. Just look at the date of those videos and that gives you an idea. But over time I made, I guess, small adjustments to the switches. I think I rebuilt one of the brackets for the motor that turns the chute. But other than that, it's been doing fantastic. I think I have one relay that's a little flaky. But you give it a little kick at the beginning of the season and it seems to have lasted all season long as well. This year, as you go back a few months in my channel again, you'll see that I also modified the pulley assembly that's underneath the tractor. Let me show you what that is. And the problem there was that there is a bearing buried in there that has a shaft that connects the top pulley to the bottom pulley. And the problem is that the bearings that are inside there, the OEM bearings, are just a bad design. And the shaft kept spinning inside the bearing sleeve and wearing off the shaft. So I replaced it 3 or 4 times until this year I finally got sick of it. And as you can see, I modified that. I put a bearing block there and a bearing block, well, I actually kept the same sleeve of the bearing block that was originally there. So you'll see that copper color bracket there. That is the original one, but the bearing inside is new. And basically the bearings have a locking collar. So go look at that video and you'll see how I did that. And it's been working fine. There is no wobble in this pulley because the shaft is securely locked inside the bearing sleeve itself. So other than that, again, just to give you a quick spin, this is the windshield wiper motor. I think I paid $13 for that. That turns the chute, the snowblower chute, and as you can see, I actually use the same original joint over here. Just basically took out the bracket that went up to the controls there and plugged this in, drilled a little hole inside the shaft that the motor came with, and that's it. The motor has to be has a negative ground on the chassis itself, which means that if you're only spinning in one direction, that would be fine. But as you know, when you reverse polarity on the motor in order to reverse the direction of the chute, that would be a problem. You would have a short circuit. So you have to isolate it. So these are basically garden hose pieces that are stuck in here between the screws over there, as well as there is more over there, right there. So that way, in case these fail, the bracket itself is isolated from the chassis. And then there is a smaller, less duty in terms of power, linear actuator that actuates the chute over here and for the direction. And again, simple bracket, all made out of scrap as it is the nature of what I do here. And this has a built-in end or run switches in both directions, so that way I adjusted it so that way this doesn't go, it doesn't get forced. It's a little slow, but I actually don't even use it that much. Usually I tend to shoot way out, so it's at the maximum opening. And then the actual first thing actually that I put here is this one here. So this is a 500 pound, so I've been using it for about 45 minutes or so. It's actually the first time I even noticed it, but it's barely warm. So it definitely gets its exercise. So as you can see, this is a 250 Newton, 2500 Newton rather, so 500 pounds linear actuator. And it's been working, like I said, for years. Flawlessly. I mean, it's just fantastic. This is a heavy-duty outdoor kind. I think I got this on eBay. I bought others of these linear actuators on online. I think the last one I bought on Amazon. So they're not cheap, but again, they last a long time. This is the bracket. Actually, this is the second design of the bracket that I made. Originally, it was just a T that came up here and went straight up. And what I found is that it would hang up. So I kind of built this loop over here. It's, again, this has been in here for years. And this was at the beginning of my welding, of playing with a welder. So actually, it doesn't look that bad. This was done with a stick welder. I now have a better welder. But yeah, I mean, again, as you can see, made with scrap, kind of patched together, and it's been working fine. Originally, when I made this, I didn't even have a welder, so you can see the bracket down here is just simply bolted on, and this was a piece of metal that I had from somewhere, and I didn't even bother, you know, welding this because it's been working fine. What else? So this is the one of the control boxes that contains a bunch of relays. Again, if you go back to my previous video, you'll see there are a whole bunch of relays here as well as under the hood. I'll show you in a minute, that control the actuators, and the idea was to bring power as close as possible to the load, so that this is coming off. This is 12 volts coming right here into the box, and then this is the control cable that allows me to control the relays that are in here. So that way everything is plugged in here, everything is quick connect, okay? And I can take these off, and sometimes I take this one off and I use it in the summertime for other attachments that I've built. Again, go look at my videos on those. I also have a linear actuator. I don't know that you can see it, but I have a linear actuator buried under here. Okay, there it is. There is one piece of it. And that is actually used in the summertime to lift and lower the mowing deck. So as you can see, I no longer have a lever for that either. Okay, so I got rid of all those ugly levers, and it's been working fine. So under the hood, okay, under the hood I have this ammo box, Harbor Freight plastic ammo box, which works wonderful on top of the battery, just sits there. And I'll show you on the other side, a bunch of cables go inside. Walk around. So I have really a lot of wiring here that allows me to control all this stuff. And really this is doubled up because I have some relays inside this box and some relays inside that box. And the reason why I have these as well is because I can also use these controls in the summertime. And I'll show you the controls in a minute. If I open this, you'll see that dust does get in there, but everything is pretty well insulated. And like I said, it's been working fine. There is an opening right here where the cables come through, so that's how dust gets in. But I mean, as you can see, it's very fine dust. The relays are sealed, and everything is insulated, so they're packed in there, but it hasn't been a problem. Okay, so some more wiring for lights. All right, so I have a light up there. I have a light up there. I'll put some shots of the lighting at night. I also have lighting, replacing the original light bulbs in the headlamps. Okay, I also have one over here that I use. These are all eBay specials. I use this in the fall when I do leaves later in the evenings, since it gets dark so fast, and it allows me to see what's coming out of the mowing deck and so on for my leaf collector. And then I have two more of these lights back here that I can turn on individually, and they do a great job. The cab is the one thing I wish I could do. I just haven't gone around to it to really have the desire to do that, the drive to do it, but it's something that really needs to be done. So these are the controls. So these are my up and down of the chute of the snow direction, and I can control them with push buttons that are intermittent. okay? Or I can control them with a switch and just turn it on and let it go to the end of run. Okay, so that way as I'm maneuvering the tractor back and forth, I can, if I know that I need to go to the opposite direction, I can just flip the switch, let it go. By the time I'm done maneuvering, it's there where I need it. This is the left and right, okay? And again, I can push the buttons or I can actuate the switches and it will go to the end of run and sit there, because again, the direction also has end of run switches there that I installed. And then finally, this is the up and down of the entire assembly, the entire snowblower. It's up now. I can lower it. Okay. Oh, you can't see it. And then again, I can use the switch so that, and this is the one that I use the most, because as I back up, I lift the snowblower off the ground. That way I'm not, you know, introducing more drag that stops me and allows the wheels to skid. So I can just flip the switch up and maneuver. The thing comes up, it goes to the end of run. Let me just show you some of the switches. The switches for the end of run of this is buried in here. There's a bracket right there. Sorry about that. There's a bracket, and there's a switch inside here that hits this piece of metal right there. So as it comes up, it hits the metal and it stops. And then there is another switch on the bottom side that as that comes down, it hits that and it stops it. So it's a normally closed switch. All right, so, and then on this side I have a display that used to show me the time, the voltage of the battery, and the temperature. Unfortunately, that died, so I am in the process of building something different for that. This was the time set, and this was the switching between the 3 different modes that the display has. And then these 2 switches actuate the front lights and the back light. This one is something that actually I take off with the snow cab in the summertime. So it's just a wire that runs like that. For now, I ran it outside the first time when I first installed it, and it's been there for years, as you know. Sometimes it just works, leave it alone. And again, that comes off every year, every summer when I take off the enclosure. And then I have, this used to be the original spot for the headlights. Instead, what this does now is it turns on this light right here, okay? Which again, illuminates my chute of the mowing deck. So the other thing that I just completed is actually a battery monitor. So this is an ESP8266 that connects to my Wi-Fi. So this is basically power coming in from the battery. It goes through a 12 volts to 5 volt converter right here, and then that powers off the ESP8266, and that is set up to basically read the voltage on the battery. And I have a switch here that allows me to put it into sleep mode, or rather remove the sleep mode functionality, which connects 2 of the pins together essentially. So what this does is programmed to read the battery, send me, stay on for about, I think I have it set to stay on for about 4 minutes, and then it will go to sleep. Okay, so it sleeps for 2 hours, and then it turns on again, it reads the battery voltage for a few minutes, and then it goes to sleep again. So that way it's powered completely by the tractor battery, and it allows me to monitor the voltage. So then it's connected to my Home Assistant server, and that way I can basically read the voltage at any time, but also the Home Assistant has an automation that allows me to, that warns me when the battery drops below a certain value. This year hasn't snowed that much, so I haven't used the tractor very often, and the battery already died twice. So I decided finally to build this. I've been thinking about it for a long time, and again, it allows me to monitor the battery and know when my battery is about to go below. I think I set it to when it drops below 12 volts, it sends me a message on my phone, and now I know that the battery needs to be charged. So I come outside, run a wire, put it under trickle charge, and off you go. Like I said, I just finished this. It's been on the tractor for about 2 weeks now, since the last time the battery died, in fact. And It's been working great. What I need to do is create an enclosure. So what I'm going to do is, as you can see, the wire is just running there for now, but I'm going to create an enclosure and run the wires inside this box, and it's just going to sit here. So of course it's going to be all nicely insulated and everything. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the quick update. Again, mostly to give you an idea of how long the modifications that I made have been lasting, which is really fantastic considering this is all stuff, you know, kind of patched together. Some components I bought at the surplus store. There is one near me. Wiring came from the surplus store, and like I said, it's been working great. So hope you enjoyed it. I'll put some shots of cleaning the snow that I just finished, as well as some night shots showing all the lights. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed it. Comments below, constructive comments please, and have fun. Bye.